Hey guys, it's DPX here, and welcome to day 6 of Oddly Specific Top 10 List Week. Today we're going to be looking at streaming services. Why are there so many? I don't know. Many companies created a streaming service when they really didn't have to, but there are many streaming services centered around one single company. What I mean is not streaming services like Netflix, where it's just a bunch of different movies and shows from many different studios, or services like Crunchyroll, when the main draw is just anime, but not a specific company's anime. These services are centered around specific companies. So that's what we're counting down today. The top 10 streaming services centered around one single company. Now, before we get started, you know what to do. Be sure to like this video, subscribe if you're new, turn on notifications, and leave a comment. You'll be a loyal subscriber.
I wanted to give to you, in the last part of your notes here, the significance spiritually of the number 10.
Okay, you look at this entry and you probably think, okay, DPX, you sure stretched to make this one 10 entries. And I did. If you need further proof, if you for some reason don't believe me, number 10 is the DC streaming service. The DC Universe, which is what it's called, gives a wide variety of older DC shows, newer DC shows, and virtual DC comics. Some really good shows it has include of Harley Quinn, Swamp Thing, which got canceled immediately, and Doom Patrol. And by the way, if you haven't already, go fucking watch Doom Patrol. The reason I say it was a stretch by including the DC Universe service, though, is because this service is on the verge of death. All the original shows are either being shown on CW or HBO Max or other places that I'm not thinking of. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if by a few months, maybe even by the time I upload this video, the DC Universe streaming service is completely folded into HBO Max. They're already doing that deal, which says that the end's coming near. Nice knowing you, DC Universe. Did you forget about Ubisoft's streaming service? Or did you even know that they had a streaming service in the first place? Uplay Plus, in my opinion, has no reason to exist. This is one of two streaming services centered around a single company, video game company, and my problem here is that I don't know of anyone who wants to play only Ubisoft games and not own them. Sure, they got some great IPs like Assassin's Creed, Rayman, Rainbow Six, maybe even fucking Just Dance if you're that kind of person, and some other beloved IPs as well, but there really isn't much of a reason for this service to exist. And yeah, I already mentioned, you don't even get to own the games. I was only reminded of this service because I made this video, so we're gonna move on.
So I'm gonna be giving this flavor 8.5 out of 10 scoops.
Did you know EA has their own streaming service too? Just like Uplay Plus, EA Access gives you a wide variety of games from EA, but I don't get why you would want this service. Sure, you get all the sports games, Battlefield, Need for Speed, Plants vs. Zombies, etc. There's way more. But why don't you just get the games on their own, where you get to own them? Sure, the convenience of streaming is that you got everything all on one platform, but I feel this just works way better with movies and shows rather than games. I could have made a whole list about the worst and most pointless gaming streaming services, but I didn't do that. So EA and Ubisoft are the only ones on this list.
36.
Very close, but that's not it. Let's go to Gary the Retard. What number between 2 and 4?
AMC has their own streaming service. This AMC, I want to get back to this one, let me tell you. But this one, I honestly forgot AMC Premiere exists, but it seems good for people who like to watch The Walking Dead. And The Walking Dead, I wouldn't be surprised if the AMC Premiere subscribers subscribe just for The Walking Dead. But you want to know what else you should subscribe to? Me! If you haven't already. Back to AMC Premiere. Yeah, it exists. That's all I got. Enjoy The Walking Dead.
Okay, Mrs. Puff, what's my final score?
6.
Woo!
CBS All Access seems cool. Obviously the streaming service for CBS and everything owned by CBS, and includes stuff like Star Trek Picard and Star Trek Discovery and that new Star Trek animated show that I saw pop up that doesn't look that good. Look, Star Trek is the only thing I hear people ever talking about when bringing up this streaming service, but CBS All Access also includes shows like Survivor, Young Sheldon, a new version of The Twilight Zone, and you also get a lot of live TV stuff like CBSN, CBS Sports HQ, and Entertainment Tonight Live. Also, remember that new SpongeBob movie that I feel like the only person who cares about it? That'll be an exclusive to CBS All Access. I'm almost certain the people who have this service only have it because of Star Trek, but if you're a fan of Star Trek, CBS has you covered.
Oh, chills. Literal chills.
It was number 5. Number 5 is my brother.
Oh my god, I forgot about
Peacock. Fucking Peacock. That name is dumb. I know why they named it Peacock, because NBC's logo looks like a peacock. But still, dumb name aside though, their service is actually pretty neat. NBC Universal owns quite a lot, so this service has quite a lot of options. There are certain tiers. One is free with ads, one is cheap with less ads, and one is a bit more expensive, but not completely expensive, just a bit more money, and completely ad-free. And I must add that each tier gives you more and more content. That's good if you want to like try it out, you can do that for free. And if you want to upgrade, you can totally do that. As for specifically what they have, nothing I can see myself watching. Maybe that'll change in a bit. But if you're the type of person for Downton Abbey or Below Deck, go for it. It's not on Roku or Fire Stick, which sucks though. And they also won't let you use an HDMI cable, so there's no simple way to watch it on your TV. But if you find a way to use the service, do give it a shot. It's free.
7, 5. Number 4.
Hey look, it's another excuse for me to talk about wrestling again. That's right, number 4 is the WWE Network. Now this is awesome for fans of wrestling, as the amount of content at display is jaw-dropping. Albeit, I really don't give 2 fucks about their side content like The Bump, or Ride Along, or The Day Of. Although, I'm sure many people do. I don't, though. The numbers prove that people do. But the fact that you get all the pay-per-views for free live with this service is sick, and while I haven't watched it yet, I've heard nothing but fantastic things about that Undertaker documentary, The Last Ride. The reason why it's not higher is because while the content that this service gives you is nothing to pass up, the user interface is dog shit, and you're likely to get many crashes too while trying to watch a pay-per-view live. That is frustrating. And it'll log you out a lot, that's another thing. Or at least that's just something I've ran into. But if you're a fan of wrestling or WWE, why wouldn't you have this? what the fuck, HBO? Why do you need HBO Go, HBO Now, and HBO Max? Well, confusion aside, HBO Max is still a really good streaming service. While right now it doesn't have much original content, the only ones I feel are worth of note are the Looney Tunes cartoons, and I guess Doom Patrol Season 2, as that's labeled as an HBO Max exclusive and original. And once again, if you haven't already, go fucking watch Doom Patrol. I know a lot of you will comment about how they advertise certain movies that left the service within a month, and while that does seem almost deceptive, and I do not like that, HBO Max has a big enough library of movies and shows, like a back catalog, to where I feel it more than makes up for the leaving content. You also even get movies from Studio Ghibli that have never been on streaming before, and likewise, what other streaming service can you say has movies like Casablanca and Citizen Kane? While HBO deceptively marketed certain movies that left within a month, and like Peacock, it's also not available on Roku or Amazon Fire Stick, but you can use an HDMI cable. It's still a great service that I'm sure more people would like had it been on Roku and Amazon.
What kind of pencil do we take again?
Number 2. Take a number 2.
Looks like you took a big number 2.
Hulu Plus. You've definitely heard of this service, but you probably forgot about it. But it's pretty solid. Hulu is pretty much Fox's streaming service, with a bit of third-party content. Obviously, 20th Century Fox doesn't really exist anymore, and is now owned by Disney, so Hulu is a Disney streaming service. This is some of the more non-kid-friendly Fox content that Disney probably wouldn't put on their flagship streaming service, but it still has a wide variety of movies and shows. I mean, it even has fucking Parasite. That's awesome! Definitely a really cool service. We go from one Disney streaming service to another with their flagship service, Disney Plus. Despite the lack of original content that are exciting, as stuff like The Mandalorian, the final season of the Clone Wars, or that new Phineas and Ferb movie coming out, which is a personal one for me, the variety of movies on its back catalog and shows also on its back catalog, and as well as stuff from Marvel, Star Wars, Pixar, National Geographic, if that's your thing, Fox, Disney Animation, Disney Channel, Disney's live action movies and shows. I almost feel like there is something for everyone on this service, even if it is just centered around Disney. Sure, a lack of original content over time that sells you on the service is concerning, but I feel it's all made up for with the sheer variety of content, and that's why Disney Plus is at number 1. So that was this list of the streaming services centered around one single company. What did you think? I think if there's something we can learn from this video is that not everyone needs a streaming service, and if there's one thing you need to watch, it's fucking Doom Patrol.